1 to 1.5. Perfect. Start your timer. Okay, so we quit using the monojet syringe because you can't test the flowcast to see what the consistency of it is. And I think for the beginners, people that are just getting started, this is going to be the best way to go. Don't put it in the monojet syringe. Put it in the little shot glass. Mix it. Put it in lukewarm water. You can go ahead and put that on top. And then keeping it at about 100 degrees, 110 max. And then we're going to let it sit in there for about 3 minutes. But we'll be able to open it up and test the mix with our spatula, whereas you could not do that with the monojet syringe. So this is, I think, the way that newcomers to flowcast should be using it. We can also make a second mix, put that in the monojet syringe, put it in the room, because it's going to take 12 to 15 minutes. So for flasking, this is the new technique. Notice we're running a timer. We're pre-warming the putty and the denture so that when we put the flowcast in, we're going to have the same temperature putty and denture that we have in the mix. So I'm going to stop and we'll start it back when we put it into the denture. The nice thing about mixing it and leaving it in the water, it's right at about 3 minutes now. Kathy's mixing it, and now you can test the consistency. We'd like to go a little longer, get a tiny bit stiffer, but you can see it's starting to get a little bit more like honey instead of just like skim milk. So we're at 3.5 minutes, and oh yeah, that's starting to look really good. For the flasking, we'd also use this consistency for repairing flowcast, adding to flowcast, and oh yeah, that's looking good, CD. We're closing in on about 4 minutes, and you know the term we always use is 3 to 5 minutes, and man, look at that. That's almost the perfect consistency for flasking. Again, the benefit of this is that it's not in the syringe, so we can kind of test it to see how we like it. There you go. That's perfect. So what Kathy's going to do now is she's going to pull that flask out. We're going to dry it just a little bit. Okay. Now this material will actually flow now. It's okay. You can go ahead and use a spatula if you want to. That's good. As you can see now, the heat, it's okay, you can, has really accelerated this set, which is good, but not having it in the syringe, we know what it's like. And so we're going to put this in. It's going to give me my borders. It's going to give us a nice seal. And you know we're not doing this in the mouth. We're right at 5 minutes. So Kathy's going to close it up. And she's going to put the squeegee on it. Oh yeah, you like to see a little excess. That way you know you got enough material. Now, what we'll do, hey Kathy, pull some of that off of there just to show the consistency of that, and put it back in the dapping dish. That's a big dapping dish. And what we'll, if we have, when we open it up, if there's a bubble or something like in the palate, we'll have a little material that we can repair it with. We don't need a second mix. Most relines you're not going to need a second mix because you don't have a whole lot of material. She'll drop it back in the water. We're looking at our timer. And so right at 6 minutes. So we're going to leave it in there for 10 to 12 minutes. And the fact that the putty has been pre-warmed and the denture was pre-warmed in the water, it will continue that same set rate. And so really like this. We started doing it just recently, and we're going to post this to the Flowcast website. So it's been about almost 11 minutes. And so Kathy's going to open the flask, and so we should get a good idea of where we're going now. Go ahead. And as you can see, very little excess. I've got my borders on. All my undercuts have been, she's going to just use a spatula and lift it out of there. And typically when we lift up an upper, we hold it in the palate with our thumb like that. And as you can see, there's almost no excess. We got a nice little small border. Let's see the inside, Kathy. The inside where I got rid of all my undercuts and everything. This is going to give us material to be able to flow. And if we look at the, you can see there's almost no excess because it all gets expressed out. So now we can just trim it up with the hot knife, which isn't going to take much. We just take a little bit of the excess off. There's not a lot of excess, is there? And there's not really hardly any in the palate, which is nice. Now what we've done is we've preserved that X, Y, and Z axis with the flask. We didn't have to pour a stone cast. We didn't have to do anything. And our patient is sitting in the chair waiting while we do all this. It only takes us about 30 minutes, so shoot. We just have them sit here. We'll let them wear this for about a week. We'll check it maybe once or twice. Then we can reline it or rebase it if you want.